The title of this message is Purpose-Driven, Disappointing Life, God's Hidden Plan. A year ago, ever since I found out that this Church of Southland Chino Hills, will gather at this space, 5171 Edison Avenue, I was imagining what my sermon will be when and if Pastor Mitchell ever invite me to preach. Yeah. Why that is so will be very clear to you at some point later in this message. Like many of you, I know all too well what a disappointing life looks like. My goals in my 30s, I'm 63, so that was many years ago. My 3 goals were, as a pastor, a growing church, publishing books, and teaching university or seminary. Growing church? Nah, that didn't happen. That was my last church I planted. I served there for nearly 10 years, and I was thinking, man, I failed. It was very disappointing. Publish a book, I tried twice, but without success. And teach in university or seminary. Now, before I tell you what happened with me, I need to give a little caveat because I'm hearing a voice of my wife. She's called the pride police. Any hint of pride, oh, you're prideful. Like, you know. I'm going to say something about me that may sound boastful, so let me just say this to diminish that possibility. I think this will do the trick. Right? That is unrecoverable admission. I didn't crack midpoint of SAT, fraction for first semester GPA, couldn't make 2.0, got suspended. Pastor Keith, every time he says, we are educated beyond ability, I know he's talking about me. But after I became a believer, study. I got all these degrees. So after I left my church, okay, I'm going to teach now. Unfortunately, when I sent 15 or 20, I don't remember anymore, that was a long time ago, and every one of them said, do not come. Rejection. I was so disappointed. That was me. What do I do now? But it is during this time that my family and I briefly attended Calvary Chapel Chino Hills that met right here in 5171 Edison Avenue. That was 25 years ago. Pastor Jack, the Lord confirmed our call to mission through Pastor Jack. This is what happened. God was nudging my heart toward mission. I don't want to be missionary. That's not my thing. So I prayed one Sunday before coming here, Lord, if you want me to go mission, show me a sign. I'll take anything. So I came here. That day, I remember he did Christology. We went for an hour. I began to doze off. And then he said this, if you're a Christian, raise your hand. So I raised my hand. And a lot of people raised their hand. And he said, all of you who got your hands raised, you are missionaries. I don't know how that hit 990 other people, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. That's the sign. And I wasn't happy. Oh, shoot, I have to be missionary. So I told him that. And then I had the audacity to say, can your church be my sending church? Jack said, sure. Absolutely. The last time I actually spoke here, 25 years ago, he asked me to come to first, second, third service and give like 5-10 minutes of what I'm going to be doing in Mexico. So we go to Chihuahua, Mexico. Remember this, America? No, no, no. What about Mexico? Teaching in university seminary. I taught in so many seminaries. Sure, they're not as prestigious, obviously, compared to schools here. Growing church is yes or no. No, since I didn't pastor church, but yes, because I train hundreds of pastors every day, mostly in Chihuahua, but in other states. So how is it yes? Because one pastor, Pastor Almanza, said to me one day, tú estás pastoreando a los pastores. You are pastoring other pastors. I was stunned, really. And then the book. My first book I got to publish in 2005. I wrote it in Spanish. It is now used as a missiology textbook in all the AOG schools throughout Mexico. One school, they send me offering every time that teaches course. Just the other day, I got offering for $125. I said, please don't do that. Very precious. And 3 years after I returned to America, I was invited to do something that would have never happened unless I had obeyed God to do missions work in Mexico. Oxford Center for Missions, I received email from them. The editor of Latin American Centennial Series of Edinburgh invited me to contribute a chapter for this missiology textbook. I'm the only Asian. I was blown away. Only disappointing thing was that I didn't like the title. Hola, the Koreans are coming. That was not my idea. I had respected academic title, but they changed it. But other than that, I'm happy with that. Be sensitive to God's time and timing. I'm going to explain that by way of sharing another letter. It was an email from Pastor Cesar Casillas, sent to me in July of 2013. He was instrumental in getting my book published in Mexico. And 2 years after I left, I was actually in Vietnam when this came, and I read it, and it drove me to tears of gratitude. I agree with everything he said except one part. He said, it was personally very gratifying to see that in Peru, I've never been to Peru, your work is the first book mentioned in the bibliography of AOG's manual to train 3,000 of his pastors for missions work. The reason I share this news is to thank the Lord and that you know that your work has had significance. Thank you, Ryan, for coming to Mexico in your time. That's the part where I go, in my time? Hey, Cesar, if I came in my time, I would never come. My time would have been church growing. My time would have been books publishing. My time would have been getting a job at some seminary. I would never come if I had my way, my time. What are you talking about? No, sir. I came in his time. What I'm suggesting is this. The greatest disappointing moment in your life may be God's time for you to align yourself to the purpose of God.